Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Infernus, and welcome back to another Miscellaneous review. With the Green Mile on hold for right now, I figured that the most logical decision to make was to just move to the next thing I had planned to review, which leads us to Oppenheimer, a movie with a pretty interesting release backstory because it was actually part of what appears to be the first cinematic double feature event where of all the movies it could be released on the same day as it got released as the same time as Barbie, which led to Barbenheimer, which was a very interesting event. And I know it's not the first time two movies were released on the same day. I know there was also like The Little Mermaid and All Dogs Go to Heaven. At least I think that's the movies that got paired up. But yeah, this is kind of the first one to happen in a while to my knowledge. And yeah, Barbenheimer was certainly an interesting event. I wasn't really interested in seeing Barbie, so I didn't really participate in that. But I did go see Oppenheimer, and I can definitely say this is a strong contender for my top 5 movies of the year. A list that I may or may not do in December, but who knows. Yeah. So what this movie is that it's a I guess a I don't know if I'd call it a biopic like Weird was, but it's basically telling the story of the Manhattan Project and, you know, the actual J. Robert Oppenheimer, the man who, you know, basically is credited as creating the or designing the atomic bomb. And the way things play out chronologically, you'll see why I'm saying that later. The way it plays out chronologically, there's like the whole first, I'd say third of the timeline, it's showing, Oppenheimer as a college professor and then having the idea of, designing the atomic bomb proposed, and then there's the design process. That whole section is definitely an interesting part of the movie. It does give us a good idea of who the characters are and, their relationships to one another and, why, you know, some relationships are actually more detrimental to the project than others as far as, Oppenheimer's concerned. That whole bit is interesting, but I find the more compelling parts come after. Like, don't get me wrong, that first bit doesn't at all detract from the actual movie, but I find it's not the reason that the movie is so great. That comes after the bomb has been tested. So once, the word gets out that the bomb testing was a success and Oppenheimer is seen as an American hero who's going to help the people stop the Axis powers, we really get an idea of how putting the technology out there in the world has affected him, the guilt that he carries, and the visualization of that guilt. How it's actually seeing the people around him as victims of the blast. It's definitely unnerving in a way. How just seeing it visually, it's very disturbing, but also a great way of showing the guilt he feels for, constructing a deadly weapon and, giving the world the ability to destroy themselves. And, given how the technology has been put out there, it really creates this feeling of uneasiness and danger as we start to realize we're not as safe in this world as we thought we were. Just the thought that the enemy could create a bomb and drop it on us sends shivers down my spine and gives me goosebumps, I'll tell you what. But at the same time, unlike the American people in the context of the movie, who treat Oppenheimer like an American hero, the movie actually does the opposite in a sense and puts his flaws on full display, where he's had a past of having more left-leaning and communist tendencies, and how he's a womanizer who didn't really value his family all that much, or at least as much as he should have. He's still an interesting character who you are invested in, but also one who the movie is not afraid to show how he is a very flawed man, which in a sense adds more to how interesting he is. And before I move on to my only real issue with the movie, I just want to say This is an absolutely amazing cast, and they are bringing their A game to the movie, which I guess makes perfect sense considering that it's from Christopher Nolan, who I'm sure I'll cover the Dark Knight trilogy at some point in the future, but right now we'll just focus on this movie. But yeah, absolutely, they're bringing their A game to this movie. Whether you're talking about Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, and I know I just read out the names on the poster, but I'll give a special mention to Rami Malek since there's a moment with his character that comes later on chronologically in the events, which leads me to my only real issue with the movie in that the order in which the events are shown makes the movie feel a little less cohesive than it could have. You do still get an idea of what's going on, and you do get, you are able to tell how important the events are, but I feel like it's kind of cheapened by, the movie not being in chronological order, especially when it comes to Rami Malek's character. You know, his character is treated a certain way by Oppenheimer earlier in the movie during the part with the bomb designing. But at the same time, there's also a moment later on in the movie during the hearing with Robert Downey Jr.'s character that is a very powerful moment for that character, but I feel like it could have been even more powerful if the events were played in chronological order. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I mean, but I just feel like the order of events in the context of the movie itself, it cheapens certain moments just a little bit. But since I brought up Robert Downey Jr., let me just shift back to the positive section by saying that he gives a damn good performance that really shows how he's not just the guy who played Iron Man in the MCU. He is a absolutely amazing actor who is very much capable of portraying these more dramatic characters. So overall, even though I'm not a huge fan of the order of the events shown, I think in general this is a fantastic movie, a great character study of the man who gave us the atomic bomb with a top tier cast who are bringing their A game. So overall, a strong 4.5 out of 5. Again, if the events were just shown in chronological order, it could have been a 5, but like I said at the beginning, strong contender for top 5 movies of the year if I make that video. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for my review on Oppenheimer. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. I'm not going to bore you with all that generic stuff. And let me know in the comments. Did you participate in Barbenheimer? Did you see both? Did you see one or the other? Which one did you see first? Which one did you decide to skip? Or did you see neither? Feel free to let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and Godspeed.